Hi folks, this is Alan and I'm back with another movie review, and today I'm going to be reviewing James Cameron's 1989 underwater sci-fi action-adventure film, The Abyss, starring Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and Michael Biehn. And basically the plot, I'm just going to read it off the back of the DVD. How about that, huh? The plot. In this thrilling underwater action-adventure from writer-director James Cameron, a civilian oil rig crew is recruited to conduct a search and rescue effort when a nuclear submarine mysteriously sinks. One diver, played by Ed Harris, soon finds himself on a spectacular odyssey 25,000 feet below the ocean's surface when he confronts a mysterious force that has the power to change the world or destroy it. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio and Michael Biehn co-star. And there you go, that's the plot of The Abyss from the back of the DVD. The Abyss. Wow, what a treat it is to review this movie for you today. You know, James Cameron, I mean, God bless him, he's a box office film director king. I mean, this guy now has the two top highest grossing movies of all time. In the number 2 position, Titanic, which used to be number 1 for many years, and at numero uno, of course, Avatar. And one thing I've always admired about James Cameron is that he is indeed a brilliantly talented director when it comes to the technical sides of things. I mean, I think James Cameron comes from the same filmmaking school as George Lucas. You know, just like George Lucas, James Cameron, he's no slouch when it comes to the visual effects. He's no slouch when it comes to the production and the art direction and the design and the scope of the films. I mean, James Cameron likes to do everything big, and he is an absolute genius filmmaker when it comes to the technical sides of things. The visual effects, the production, every single James Cameron film has great production values and visual effects and all of that. And I give that to James Cameron. Well, maybe not True Lies, you know, film he directed with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, maybe that one not so much, but I mean, yeah, all of his highest grossing films, Avatar, Titanic, the first 2 Terminator films, Aliens, and of course, The Abyss. I mean, brilliant visual effects, production design, blah, blah, blah. But of all of these movies, of all of these films that James Cameron has made, and as highly successful as virtually all of these films have been, there is only one movie he's made that I really, truly love and adore, and that's The Abyss. I mean, for me, folks, The Abyss is the best film James Cameron has ever done. This is James Cameron's masterpiece, right here, The Abyss. If I had it my way, folks, the world would know James Cameron the best for The Abyss. Not Avatar, not Titanic, not Aliens, not the first 2 Terminator movies, okay? The Abyss. From the moment I saw The Abyss back in 1989, I mean, I just totally loved it. I think I must have seen this film in the theater like 3 or 4 times. And this was the shorter theatrical cut that I had seen, rather than the longer special edition, which is now available on DVD. And from the moment I first saw The Abyss, I was just blown away by it, absolutely blown away. I love any kinds of movies that take place underwater. I mean, it's not guaranteed that I'm gonna give it a magnificent rating, but I mean, it's a good bet that I will definitely appreciate a film that takes place underwater. I do find the whole world that's underwater, you know, very, very fascinating, and I enjoy films that take place underwater. I mean, my favorite James Bond movie, Thunderball, takes place a good portion of the time underwater. Not the whole movie, of course, but there's a large chunk of it that's underwater, so I like that. Some people found it boring, but not me. I love Thunderball. It's my favorite James Bond movie. But if you really want to get a really good idea of how fabulous an underwater film can really truly be, especially an action film that takes place underwater, you got to watch The Abyss. You really, really do. What James Cameron and his cast and crew did on this film is nothing short of genius. At least to me, anyway. I mean, this film's a masterpiece. It's a fabulous film straight across the board. And if you can watch the lengthier special edition of The Abyss, which adds another 28 minutes. to the film, it's even better. It's a much more fuller, richer, rounded out film, and it's a much more satisfying experience. I mean, the theatrical cut is still a whole ton of fun. I like the theatrical cut. That's how I originally saw the movie, but I really thought the special edition version, I really do believe, even now, that the special edition version of The Abyss, which clocks in at like 2 hours and 50 minutes, so just shy of 3 hours, the special edition of The Abyss is the definitive version of the film. It really is. It's a fantastic film. It really is. Where to begin? Because I got nothing but love for The Abyss. I really, really do. For starters, I think James Cameron's direction of The Abyss is fantastic. I mean, this is the best directing job he has ever done on a film, bar none. Again, his direction on those first two Terminator films, Aliens and Avatar, was very good. And again, his technical stuff on Titanic, of course, was good. But I really think his direction was the sharpest it has ever been when he directed The Abyss. I mean, his directing on that is fantastic. I also love the cast of the film. The cast of The Abyss is wonderful. You got a phenomenal cast for this film. You've got great actors like, let's see, I'm looking at my little pad here. Ed Harris, one of my all-time favorite actors. Ed Harris as Virgil Brigman, you know, the foreman on the deep core rig. You've got Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio as his estranged wife, Lindsay, the designer of the rig. She's great. Michael Biehn, he's basically the bad guy in this film. He plays a Navy SEAL named Coffee, Lieutenant Coffee, and basically once he gets down to the rig, you know, he starts getting the shakes, you know, the pressure of going from the top of the ocean down below. I mean, some people can't handle it, you know, when they go down below, and his Lieutenant Coffee can't handle it, and he starts to get the shakes, and he starts to go a little, you know, zippity-doo-dah, and he starts to cause trouble for the people down on the oil rig. But he's scary. He is really, really scary in this as Lieutenant Coffee, as the guy becomes more and more unhinged. But yeah, he's great. Michael Biehn, great supporting performance from Michael Biehn as Lieutenant Coffee. The other people, I mean, I really, really enjoy everybody in this cast, no matter how big or small their roles are. Everybody in the cast is great. Leo Burmester as Catfish, who's he's one of the main guys on the oil rig, and you know, you see this? They used to call this the hammer. He's terrific. Let's see, Todd Graff as a hippie. He's like the nerdy guy on the oil rig crew, and he has a pet rat that he loves, the pet rat. You definitely come to like the pet rat that he has with him. But yeah, Todd Graff, very, very funny as hippie. Kimberly Scott as One Night. She plays another oil rig worker, and you know, she's got the cowboy hat, and you know, she's got the she drives the mini I don't know, what do you call that? The mini submersible. She drives that around for a while, but she's really, really good. I like her. Everybody in the cast is great. Everybody in this cast, no matter how big or how small their roles are, they're wonderful. So, and I really love how Cameron gives these people a really wonderful family feeling, especially once the oil rig runs into trouble down below, and they've been cut off from communications from the people topside. Some other people on the rig have been killed, but the surviving crew members of the rig, they really do become a family. And it's really great to see how Cameron assembled these people. You know, it's a really wonderful cast that he assembled for this film, and I really love that family unit that they have in this movie. It's really, really nice to see. I always like seeing, you know, a family of characters together and helping each other and working together as a team. And this particular team on The Abyss worked really, really wonderfully well. Really, really great stuff. Let's see. I think the score for this film is fantastic. The score by Alan Silvestri. Great score. I mean, the main theme of The Abyss is like dun 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 dun. You know, great music from Alan Silvestri. The visual effects are fantastic because, you know, another thing about The Abyss is that it involves underwater aliens. Yes, it does, because the oil rig people, they find some extraterrestrials down at the bottom of the ocean there, and these extraterrestrials have a major role to play in this film, and the visual effects regarding the aliens are just terrific. I mean, I love that whole purple glow, the beautiful purple light that we see, and then we see the aliens themselves, and they seem to be a combination of animatronic aliens and also maybe a little bit of CGI. And speaking of the CGI, I think The Abyss was one of the very first films to use CGI for its visual effects, and as a matter of fact, The Abyss won a well-deserved Academy Award for the visual effects. Very well done. And this was definitely one of the first few films to use CGI for visual effects, although this was 7 years after Tron, so it wasn't the very first, but I think this was the first movie that the Academy finally acknowledged and gave an award to for its use of visual effects. Because, you know, in 1982, the Academy just didn't understand, when the movie Tron came out, that CGI is a valid form of film visual effects. But in 1982, they just didn't get it. Tron was really, really ahead of its time, you know, because the Academy refused to nominate Tron for visual effects because they said, oh, you guys are cheating. You guys are cheating using computers for visual effects, because the way you do visual effects is you use models and matte paintings. You know, you don't use computers for visual effects. So you guys cheated using your visual effects. So we're not going to give you guys a nomination for best visual effects. I mean, they really, really fucked over the people who worked on Tron. But that was 7 years before The Abyss, okay? 7 years later, in 1989, the Academy finally got it. When they saw in The Abyss that CGI water tentacle, I guess is what we'll call it, that water tentacle creature, can't talk, the water tentacle creature in The Abyss, that was when the Academy finally got it, that, CGI really is a valid form of visual effects for films, okay. And they awarded The Abyss with the Oscar for visual effects. Although I think not just for that computer-generated water tentacle creature that we see in the film, but that was the first time the Academy finally acknowledged CGI as a valid form of as a valid form of visual effects for films. So The Abyss was the first film to get an Oscar for that CGI visual effects. And the visual effects in the film are stunning. And of course, the scope of the film and the photography on the film, I believe the cinematographer on The Abyss is, Michael Solomon. Michael Solomon, his cinematography on this film is fantastic. Another thing that I love about The Abyss is that you really do believe that you are underwater. I mean, we are right there in the thick of it with the oil rig crew. This film was shot, the bulk of this film was shot in a gigantic water tank, specially designed, humongous water tank, and they had to build the oil rig set and some other sets underwater. And I really did believe, you really do believe from the start of the film to the last that we are underwater, and that is to James Cameron's credit, and also to the credit of the cast and crew. The action scenes in this film are phenomenal. I mean, again, being underwater adds to the claustrophobia of the film. It really does. I mean, you get tense when they get tense. You feel the fear that the cast, that the characters feel. It's really, really amazing stuff. I mean, great action scenes. First of all, when the oil rig is dragged into the precipice and almost goes over the edge at the bottom of the ocean, you know, when all hell breaks loose on the oil rig and the oil rig nearly topples over the edge, and all hell is breaking loose and the water is bursting through the oil rig, and sadly some characters get killed, but I mean, it's a fantastic action scene. It really, really is. And then later on when Bud and Lindsay are in one mini-submersible and they're being chased in another mini-submersible by the crazy Lieutenant Coffee, their action scene is really great fun to watch. Even though we're underwater, even though things are moving a little bit slower, but I mean, James Cameron still keeps it moving, and the action scenes are still, for underwater action, it's very, very pumped up and very, very exciting to watch. It really, really is. Phenomenal acting from everybody in the cast. I mean, again, Ed Harris as Virgil or Bud. I mean, what an actor. Ed Harris has always been one of my favorite actors, and I mean, you couldn't ask for a better guy to play Virgil in this movie. I mean, he's got total authoritative leadership. He's the kind of guy that you want to lead a group of people. You know, he's tough. handsome, suave, and yet, you know, he's also funny. But, you know, he's just a wonderful leader. I mean, you can see quite plainly why everybody on the oil rig respects Virgil, or Bud. You can see why everybody respects him. I mean, he's totally the kind of guy that you just can't help but respect. I mean, he demands respect. Well, he doesn't demand it, but I mean, he's just a wonderful natural leader, and that automatically earns your respect for him. And Ed Harris, you know, one of my all-time favorite actors, and this is definitely one of my very favorite roles that he's ever played. He's just naturally likable. He's a naturally likable leader of the oil rig crew, and you root for him. You really, really do. He plays a really, really great likable guy here. So Ed Harris, phenomenal performance, wonderful performance as Bud. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, as I said before, wonderful performance, and again, I love how her character transforms from the cast iron bitch that she starts out as to the kind, gentle, loving woman that she transforms into by the end of the film, and that's a wonderful transformation to see. And again, seeing her and Bud get back together again, and she and Ed Harris have wonderful chemistry in this film. I mean, I just love watching the two of them together. So they're wonderful. And I think I've already said Michael Biehn. He's great as Lieutenant Coffey. That one scene, I have to mention that one crucial scene where Lindsay basically sacrifices herself and she drowns so Bud can live, and Bud has to take her lifeless body back to the rig because they're trapped in the submersible after they finally vanquished Lieutenant Coffey, and their own submersible has run out of fuel, I think, or the electrical circuits are all blown, and then all the power goes out, the submersible is flooding. Virgil's the only one who has a suit on. Virgil, Bud, same guy, okay. Virgil, or Bud, he's the only one with a suit on, and Lindsay makes the decision, you know, Bud, you know, you got to take me back to the rig. I'm going to drown. You take me back, and you can still try to revive me. You know, all of my bodily functions will slow down. They won't stop, but, you know, just take me back to the rig, and you and everybody else in the rig revive me. And, I mean, there's total terror in Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio's voice and in the expression on her face, because I mean she knows, as Lindsay, I mean, she knows she's about to drown. There's nothing that can be done to stop that. But maybe, just maybe, take a leap of faith that she can be revived later on. And that scene in the submersible with the water filling up between Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio is phenomenal acting. I mean, fantastic acting between Harris and Mastrantonio. And my God, I mean, so powerful, so powerful. I mean, when she drowns, you know, and again, the fear in her just before she drowns, but knowing that there is no other way out of this situation, she drowns, and then, you know, Ed Harris, you know, screams, "No!" You know, and then he takes her back, you know, he takes her back to the oil rig, and then he and the rest of the people in the oil rig work on reviving her. Spoiler coming up, but, you know, some of my reviews have spoilers in it. I mean, this is an old film. I mean, come on. I mean, it's came out in 1989. But anyway, this is a controversial scene because not everybody buys the fact that Ed Harris and his oil rig crew managed to revive Lindsay. Against all the odds, against all probability, they managed to revive her. And everybody who has seen this scene, let me put it to you this way. When I saw The Abyss in the movie theater, the 3 or 4 times that I saw it, all 3 or 4 times I saw The Abyss in the theater, there was always a group of people somewhere in the theater when Lindsay comes back from the dead and is revived. Somebody in the theater went, "Oh, come on. I mean, come on, man. She was dead. She drowned. There's no way they could revive her, blah, blah, blah." You know, but you know, first of all, there is a slight possibility that it could work. Okay, there is a possibility that you could bring somebody back from drowning if you do it immediately, and you know, however, you know, unlikely, it is possible, and I know James Cameron will argue about that too, that it is possible, not guaranteed, but it's possible that you can bring somebody back. I also defend this scene on the basis that it is magnificently acted by the cast. Absolutely. I mean, when Ed Harris and the other cast members act, and they're trying to revive Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio as Lindsay, and even Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Lindsay, just like, you know, just laying there, drowned, and they're trying to revive her, and of course, Virgil, he goes, no, she has a strong heart, she wants to live, come on, baby, come on, and then, of course, he goes into that famous bit, God damn it, you bitch, you've never backed away from anything before in your life, now fight! And she comes back. Like I said, whether or not you buy that she manages to come back, there is no getting around the irrefutable fact, people, that is a brilliantly acted scene. Everybody in the cast in that scene are terrific. I mean, you feel the tension, you feel that fire that's in everybody, and not just Ed Harris, of course, but everybody in the cast in that scene. I mean, they're acting their asses off, and it's brilliant. And I think James Cameron's direction of that scene is brilliant. And I'm glad that they brought Lindsay back. Okay, I'm glad that she came back from the dead and was revived. And when she comes back, she's transformed, baby. She's transformed. She's a changed woman. And I love that. So I don't have a problem with that scene with Lindsay being revived from being drowned. I'm sorry that some other people do, but I don't. I think it's a wonderful scene, brilliantly acted by the cast, brilliantly directed by James Cameron, and I don't have a problem with that scene whatsoever. Okay? Just saying. Let's see, what else is there to say? Like I think I said, the visual effects of this film are terrific. The aliens, I really love the aliens in the movie, and I love their whole look. Again, they're a combination of animatronic, and I think there is some CGI effects there, not just the water tentacle that we see at one part in the movie, but I mean, yeah, a combination of animatronics and CGI, and I think the aliens are wonderful. That big moment when the spaceship, at the end of the film, the spaceship, that gargantuan spaceship, rises out of the sea at the very end of the film and comes up to the surface. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal moment. Wow, I mean, just fantastic visual effects, and again, the scope and the cinematography, the music, and and great action scenes, great drama, great comedy. I mean, this is a wonderful film. This is really, really a wonderful movie, and I really do think The Abyss is easily the best thing that James Cameron has ever done in his filmmaking career. For my money, it's the best movie he's ever made, absolutely. And I also want to say, in conclusion, that this version of The Abyss that I have on DVD, I'm happy to say this contains both the theatrical version, which runs about 2 hours, 25 minutes, I think, and the extended version, the special edition, which clocks in at just under 3 hours, like 2 hours and 51 minutes. I love the theatrical version. The theatrical version is how I originally saw The Abyss, but the special edition version is the definitive version of the movie. It really is, because it adds another like 25 minutes, or 28 minutes worth of footage, and we get more into the characters, we get more into their relationships with each other, we get more background about the aliens in the film, and so their place in the film is made a lot more clear and a lot more understandable, because I know some people didn't like the aliens in the film. They feel that, take the aliens out of The Abyss and it would have been a great movie. Come on. I like the aliens in this movie, and I love that scene towards the end of the film when Ed Harris finally gets to meet them in their spaceship, and they have a little, shall we say, like a telepathic chat with Ed Harris. Well, I mean, Ed Harris, he's doing the talking, and the aliens communicate with him by showing images projected on a watery screen, if you like, and I love that whole scene. And again, it delves deeper into why the aliens are down there on the ocean, and their place in the movie is made a lot more clear. I also love how the special edition version of The Abyss is wonderful. It also acts as wonderful commentary, I think, about the negative, evil stuff that we have in this world. But again, it's also a great commentary on all the good, wonderful, loving stuff that we have in this world. I mean, you see that in the end. You see that through the eyes of the aliens. They point out that there's bad stuff in this world, but there's also good stuff in this world. And again, that is made no more clear than in the longer special edition version of The Abyss. So by all means, when you watch The Abyss, again, the theatrical version is good. It's great, but I think the special edition version is even greater. And if you can get this particular DVD version of The Abyss, you will get both the theatrical cut and the special edition cut on the DVD. So start off with the theatrical cut. because that's how the film was originally released. But then by all means, go to the special edition version. And once you see the special edition version of The Abyss, I don't think you'll go back to the theatrical version, as much as I love it. But I cannot deny that I love the special edition version of The Abyss even more. It's the definitive version of the movie as far as I'm concerned. I really, really love it. And it's a better film. It's a better film for it. It really, really is. So there you go, folks. The Abyss. Again, it's the one James Cameron movie that I absolutely love and adore. It's my favorite James Cameron film by far. And like I said, if I had it my way, the world would know James Cameron the best for The Abyss. Not for Avatar or Titanic or the Terminator films or Aliens, or even True Lies for that matter. The Abyss. I really do believe this, The Abyss, is the best film James Cameron ever made. It's wonderful. I loved it from the first time I saw it. It still thrills me now, well over a quarter century later. Hard to believe this film came out, 26 years ago? My God, 26 years ago. Amazing. The movie, what can I say? It still thrills me now. It still thrills me now. 26 years later, and I still say that The Abyss is James Cameron's masterpiece. And that's my review of The Abyss. So this is Alan, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back next time with another movie review. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.